Good evening. I think we got our glitches worked out.
Okay, got your umbrella. That's good. I got mine.
It is August 9th, 2023. We have a full yet fun agenda to get underway tonight. And I know people have said I shouldn't do this every time I do it, but I'm going to. It's August 9th. Tom Burns and my Baltimore Orioles are still in first place.
They got their announcer back too.
Oh, he is back.
Well, he's coming back.
See, all is good in Birdtown.
That was quite a kerfuffle.
Well, yeah, they had bad PR.
Judge Judy's word.
It's a good word.
Kerfuffle.
Oh, I like that one. It's like shenanigans. All right, real quick. Ms. D is not with us tonight. So sitting up here in her steed is Mr. Martin. And as you can tell, wasn't pretty, but here we go. We'll help you with the big words.
Yeah,
All right.
it's being recorded.
We're not on.
Okay, real quick. Are these the right minutes? Or because it's date, the minutes there are from June 14th.
Yes, we did.
Well, that is okay. We will not.
This is the one that, I think the date's wrong. Is the date that's wrong?
Is it just the date wrong?
She might have just auto-filled and used
Okay.
dates. From,
All right. Well, that's okay.
Last time.
Yeah, here we go. We're good. We're good. First world problems.
In the date.
Yeah. If there are any changes, additions, subtractions, let's amend the date real quick. Other than that, if there are any other changes, additions, subtractions, I would entertain that. If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yahtzee. Real quick, we've got lots of exciting announcements, and that involves Next Level Trails. I'll let Corey get to that here in a minute when she gives us some event updates. It did get submitted. I'll let Corey give you the rest of the update, but it was extremely cool putting it together. It was like taking a 500-level master's course. The folks from Indianapolis were incredible. The folks from the Indy Urban Wilderness folks were incredible to work with. We're one, and Corey will tell you how many other folks are in the running for this, but excuse me, it was truly neat. So that is exciting. Real quick, just a few things I want to touch on. I'll be reaching out since it is a city park. The rain garden covers and all of that work. I'm going to be reaching out to Jim Hennigan, who will be doing that work. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to take up the time. Just, Eric, have we had any major problems, vandalism, anything like that, break-ins, that I don't want to jinx this if there hasn't been any? Not that I'm...
not since the paint at the play park, but
Okay.
we're remodeling that this winter anyway, so.
Under your director's report, I will pick your brain about where we're at with the budget. I am going to have Ms. Liz Mazur. We had a great meeting last week, and I know you hear those terms, a great meeting, but we had a very good meeting concerning additions to our pollinator habitat. Lizzie.
So I met with Mr. Martin and Mr. Vest and Ms. Korn last week, and we talked about since the almost 5 acres of pollinator-friendly plantings we've planted at the 4 parks, Lee Road Park, Jen Park, Veterans Park, and Richard Street Park are doing well, that we've seen that they can be successful, and so we thought, why not expand? So I have made a contribution, and a friend has made a contribution. So we have not officially spoken with the new Lawrence Parks Foundation, but the proposal is to write checks to the Lawrence Parks Foundation, and then that will pay the City of Lawrence Parks Department. The Parks and Rec Department will order seeds, and we will add at least an acre, if not more, to Jen Park. Because of all the parks, Jen Park is looking the best. And it would be kind of a reflection, it's like a mirror. The way Gen Park goes, it stretches along, kind of snakes, and we'll add to that, have a mow area, so there's like a trail between the two areas. And so we'll have close to an acre more of pollinator-friendly plantings at Gen Park. And $1,250 doesn't sound like very much, but Mr. Martin realized that the city has a cedar. And so with the city having a cedar, that means a contractor does not need to be hired to plant the seeds. So all the Parks and Rec Department has to pay for are the native plant seeds. And today I was looking online at Pheasants Forever and Prairie Moon and several other places about the cost of seeds and the variety of seeds. But if we can just pay for seeds and the city can use a cedar, we can do what was done previously by Cardinal for much less money, and it's very likely there will be money left over that could be, so we could add more pollinator-friendly habitat to more places. Do you have any questions?
No.
Oh, very good.
Thank you, Ms. Liz.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, you said that how much was needed to reach this goal
Well,
or estimated?
right now we have $1,250.
Okay, gotcha.
And I've reached out to some other people. So if you're feeling generous with your checkbook and want to write a check to the Lawrence Parks Foundation, I think the president would gladly take a check.
Really?
So, and that will go for seeds, and that's all. The seeds, we want good quality seeds. We want a mix that has at least 6 different grasses and 20 to 25 flowers, because the more variety, the better. And if you go by Gen Park now or Lee Road Park, right now, there are a lot of brown, black-eyed Susans, but there are purple coneflowers, but next year, there will be many fewer of those coneflowers, because other flowers, it takes a couple of years. Remember, first they sleep, then they creep,
and
then they leap. So this year, they were at their peak 2 weeks ago, and I will stop going on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, dearest.
The road looks nice.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments from, go ahead, Mr. Tom.
What's going on at the football fields?
Right now,
Yeah.
it's the Drum Corps International. It's actually the team from the state of Washington that's there this week for their practice, and then they go down to Lucas Oil on Friday to compete.
So do we have agreement with them, or
Oh, yes, yes,
did that come here?
they did,
Okay. I
yeah.
just forgot.
Yeah. This is their 3rd year here. Actually, they've brought the largest complement of stuff. They've got 2 semi-trucks over there, and then they bring in 3
it's a big
buses each
deal.
day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Ever getting complaints from the people that live around there?
Yeah, no, we haven't. Most of the activities during the day, they only practice one night. That's,
You know, they better not be practicing at night, I wouldn't think.
they practice tomorrow night and up until 9 o'clock if they need
I could
to.
hear them all the way over to Ivy Tech today.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's I'm not anti-music, but holy heck.
Lee Road Park, do the police kind of go through there regularly, or? There's a lot of people over there sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. We've had some issues at Community Park, brought to our attention 2 weeks ago, and actually the police department's we're having more drive-throughs at our park locations, so,
Yeah, Lee Road, they ought, if, sometime or another, they probably ought to drive through.
yeah,
It's when they see a lot of people there.
yeah. The situation at Community Park's a little different. We've got some,
Adult soccer.
yeah, it's not what I don't want to say homeless. It's
Oh.
it's without housing.
Yeah, we still have the homeless thing in the back?
There's still
I
people
saw-
back there,
I saw
yeah.
Somebody, I assumed they probably were
Yeah,
homeless. So they're-
yeah. So we're going to clean that up this fall when we can get to it and see it. And then, again, the police department's stepping up their drive-throughs there and then asking people to move along when they see them there after hours.
What teams are using the soccer fields over there? Are there high school teams that are using it?
No.
'Cause I saw a girls' team that I assume, it was LC, I could tell that, but
LC's using it.
the boys' team use it too?
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Must have been a boys' team, they didn't have an LC.
Yeah, they're on the north fields. They're utilizing it for their practice sessions. Cathedral will be out there soon. I haven't seen them yet, but
Are we getting use agreement?
that one we will have before they start. Yeah, but LC,
We just have a cooperative
Yeah.
agreement with the schools, right? With
Yeah.
Lawrence schools, so that's not necessary.
Cathedral will be bringing their checkbooks.
I know she cleaned up some of the graffiti over at the skate park.
we've done some, but it's just, it's almost,
I mean, it's ongoing. It's gonna,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
never get to stop.
No,
You just
no.
clean it up on a regular basis, I think.
no, we just try to cover up the
Yeah.
bad words. The rest of
I
it's,
noticed that was good. Do we still have security for the Sunday soccer? Do they still have security? I couldn't tell. When I was-
well, not all the time because the Mel's trying to find additional help to help him with that security issue, and he realizes it, and it's hard to find guys to work the additional hours.
I'm going to ask a blunt question. Are Third Sunday League players out there continuing their piggish behavior?
The JB's group I've spoken to, and they seem to be doing better. It's the other league that we have the issues with, Daniel's league.
There's two different leagues going on
There
at the
are.
same time, and
There are.
they're in two separate areas?
Correct.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and they're competitive leagues, so of course they blame one league for, leaving it a mess when it's actually the other leagues.
They're in two completely separate areas.
Yeah.
You could tell who did it.
No, JB's actually been taking pictures and sending them to me after they clean up. Now, there's trash there, but they get them pretty well
Is it-
bundled up.
Are we going to have just a face-to-face with Daniel's League? Because
It's under the auspices of FC Pride, so yeah, we need
I
to get
will
them all
reach
in.
out. That's what wearing me out. That we're not farm animals, and we are adults, so holy heck. It makes me crazy. It's ongoing. Anything else, folks?
How about the budget?
Well, that would be my first one. That'd be a good transition. So where are we at?
We had our first meeting with the administration and the controller yesterday. It looks like we'll have about a $300,000 increase in our budget, is what we're going in with. So the proposal is a 3% increase for employees. I know that's important to everybody. So there's been some additional contributions to PERF and other that I need to make everybody aware of, that the city's paying more towards PERF this year and next year. But a majority of the money will be Gin Park. We're looking to do some improvements at Gin Park. We're looking to do some improvements at the activity center. Those that are revenue productions for us. And then, of course, the cost of fuel and everything else going up. Utilities, we added 10% across the board on all of our utilities. So we have our first meeting is next week.
14th?
For,
Corey, first public.
Our
You
first
state your
meeting
name.
is for public safety, and it is on Monday from 4 to 6. And then on Tuesday from 6 to 8, we will be doing DPW parks and streets.
So if you'd
that's a
like to come
public- yeah.
listen to our dog and pony show, you're more than welcome to come.
Got it. Parks, Tuesday, 6 to 8. Always been a Tuesday. You have anything else to update us with?
No, Corey's going to probably talk to you about some of the upcoming events, but we've got Public Safety Day this weekend on the 12th from 10 to 2. And then I was looking at the scheduled day, September the 23rd. It'd be a good day for everybody to be out of town because we're going to have the pickleball tournament for the Alzheimer's, to end Alzheimer's disease. We got Loggers of Lawrence and the FC Pride Cup. So we'll have a lot of activities going on the 23rd of September, so,
Alzheimer fundraiser pickleball,
yeah.
FC Pride soccer tournament,
And Loggers and Lawrence.
and that wiener dog races are back again. Can't beat a good wiener dog race. So there you go.
Wait for them.
But as soon as I have the budget timelines, I'll make sure the board sees that so they can
Okay,
comment to our council members.
got it. Ms. Corey, have at it.
Hello again. Just to piggyback on some of the events coming up, as Eric mentioned, Community Safety Day is this Saturday from 10 to 2, and it's right over at Station 40 on 59th and Lee Road. We have about almost 60 vendors there this year, so it's going to be very jam-packed, busy, and lots of fun. So come on out and get your free hot dogs and enjoy all the different demonstrations going on. Then on September 9th, we have the LFD pickleball tournament, and that benefits the the Hoosier Burn Center, and that's a camp for kids who have been suffered from burns from fires and those things. So they are doing that benefit for them.
And yesterday was National Pickleball Day for all you naysayers.
And then also, just happening in the community, so you're aware, the 16th is Barbecue and Blues at Fort Harrison State Park. That is a Friends of Fort Harrison event that we as a city are happy to support. And then he mentioned the excitement on the 23rd, and then we turn around on September 30th. And in partnership with the MSD of Lawrence Township, we have Dia Latino de Lawrence that day. So excited with all those things going on. And also on the 30th is also Outrun the Sun. So they have their race that starts over at Lawton Loop. So excitement there. And any questions on events before I
Oh, we've got
talk a little bit about the upcoming, talking about the grant submission. It was quite a competitive submission, and so we're pretty excited, though, about and hopeful that we will be awarded. The project was submitted at $7,036,000. We have a match that we have received of $2,036,000 that we were able to put into the trail. $250,000 of that is the city's responsibility of that match. The rest is all coming from outside sources, including $1,750,000 from Central Indiana Community Foundation. They are holding money for Lilly Endowment, and that is from Lilly Endowment. So our ask is for $5 million on the project. It is a trail that is 1.83 miles, and so that sounds like a lot, but it's doing some pretty interesting things. It'll take us, again, as a reminder, from 63rd and Lee Road to down Lee Road to 71st Street, then that little jog to Fall Creek, and go north on Fall Creek to the North Loop Trail there. So it's pretty exciting to watch this happening. It's part of the DNR's next Visionary Trails, And so we are adding on to that, and this will be the connectivity of Lawrence to access to so many trails. You will actually be able to go on this trail and actually get to the Monon and get downtown and all different stuff, and people will be able to do that via trails. So it's really exciting. We are thrilled to be partnering with the City of Indianapolis and their Parks Department on this project, and I think it, fingers crossed. But when I say it was competitive, just to give you an example, you could apply both for a regional application or a local one. This was a regional because we combined with the City of Indianapolis. The DNR received a total of 47 applications for more than $94.2 million for 81.9 miles of new trail. The requests are in addition to the application match values of $37,800,000. They were received from 33 different counties. Of the applicants, 21 were applying first time and 26 were returning applicants. Out of the projects submitted, 26 were categorized as local, and then 21 projects fell under the regional project category, with the requesting $61 million. Notably, 16 of these regional projects are in the Visionary Trail corridor, and that is something that they really wanted to expand. So that's why it was important that we regionally connected with those Visionary Trails. They are going to review the applications, and we should know in December if we are accepted or not. A total of $22.5 million is going to be awarded. So again, you look and you say there's $61 million in applications received. They're only awarding $22.5 million. So we really need to keep our fingers crossed, our toes crossed, say some prayers, do whatever we need to do,
Sacrifice a
because I
chicken.
think this would be huge for us to be able to receive this grant. And so very, very exciting. And was there any other updates you needed from me?
Not at this time.
How's the trail up Lee Road and across 63rd Street?
We have signed 4 of the purchase agreements. I'm happy to say that our appraisals came in much lower than originally anticipated. And so that is very nice to see. And so we are continuing to work. We have one little hiccup that a property wasn't transferred properly when MSDLT made a purchase. So we're working with Roger Smith, and he's working with the MSDLT attorneys to get that shoot up. And once we can do that, only 2 of our properties fell over the $25,000 mark. So those 2 had to have a second appraisal. So that is in the process. And so of the properties, the MSDLT, we're waiting for that final piece, and then we'll be working with them on that. And then the other 2, we just are waiting for our second appraisals before we go ahead and look at the purchase of that. We plan still to go out to bid in December, and then contract is either will be signed by the end of December or the first couple weeks in January.
Very good. Good.
Any other questions?
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we got several new items business here, and a couple of them deal with our good friends over at Heartland Films, and that continues to just blow up in a very good way. Always have to qualify when you make that statement. And tonight, one of our 2 items we are going to address is an extension, an additional 5-year extension to the current lease agreement that Heartland has, basically taking it from August 10, 2022 out to, help me do the math here, 32, all the way out to 2032. And a couple reasons for that, and we'll get into it here in a minute, dealing with working with the lease payments that they're making. I'm going to have Michael Alt and Corey come up and kind of explain first what's going on in the interior and kind of lean on the necessity of extending the lease agreement now.
I think you've all met Michael and Adam before, but I just wanted to introduce them, and then we'll go over the specifics of this. But I think it's pretty exciting, all that's happening with Heartland Film. So before we get into this, I wanted both Michael and Adam to give you a little bit of update of what's been happening over there and the successes and what they are continuing to bring to Lawrence.
Thank you, Corey. My name is Michael Alt, and this is Adam Howell. And so we've officially been in the Starrett Center for now 8 months, and it's going quickly, but we have hopefully started really putting our foot down in Lawrence. We've made a lot of really good contacts with a lot of the citizens and business owners. Ray Cox has been a very good friend of ours. We also just received our liquor permit, which is allowing us to do our events in our event center. That really is a huge step for us instead of going through all these hurdles every time we need to get a permit. We also work with Brad with the chamber, and we are having coffee and donuts every first or second Wednesday of every month. So we're bringing the community in to see this building and to really introduce ourselves to them. We were there this morning. They had about 25 people there this morning. It was a really nice meeting. I think Brad's doing a lot with the chamber to really keep the businesses activated here in Lawrence. We are actually hosting, it's at our location, but we're actually hosting a hot breakfast next month in September. I think it's the 13th, which if you guys all want to stop over, please do. It's a nice gathering for the chamber members, and we hope to see a lot of people there. One of the cool things is that since we've been in the Starrett Center, we've kind of broken down into phases on what we've been doing. So I don't know, have you all had the chance to come over to this space? I know you guys have been there. I didn't know if you guys.
If you
have been
were to
over
go
the
in
center.
there, minus the moose head, it is spectacular. I mean, it does have that feel of what it probably would have looked like brand new, long time. But the bathrooms are, first thing I inspected when I went in there, the bathrooms are primo.
So when we started the lease back in August, September last year, we had what we called phase one, which was getting us into the building. So that was the update of the bathrooms. So we gutted them, refreshed them, put in brand new facilities. We put a fresh coat of paint on all the walls, all the ceilings, changed out lighting, changed out most of the electrical where it needed to be updated. The silly things like even the sinks in the kitchen, all the pipes needed to be changed because they were so filled with grease, and the grease trap was a big square box that had a little bitty line of water that was running through it. So that's what was going through
Bad
there.
heart.
So we did a lot of the pipes. We've done some things down in the basement to allow for us to store things down there so that it doesn't get mildewy and wet. We've updated the fire alarm system. The outdoor security cameras are looking to be installed in the next couple of months. We're putting cameras on each corner of our building to sort of match what Arts for Lawrence has on their building. And we do feel a need for that just because it is a very well-trafficked area, and we want to make sure that we do have some security in place. We've done a lot of drywall and plaster. We have just updated the paint in the kitchen. I don't know if you got to see
That was the first place I went last
we
week.
fixed all the
there.
holes in there. And then we also, if there's a landing inside the middle of the building where it leads into the event center that had like an old bench system in it, we've taken that out and put railings similar to this, but we have a whole railing system now so that it really does look like an event space.
Yes, it does.
It's really coming along well. And I think some little things, like we replaced 35 broken windows in that facility. And what Jeff said is that we've really tried to be very intentional and conscientious about the historical look and feel of that building. And we have invested quite a bit of our own dollars to make sure that we are good stewards of this building and that we're taking care of it. We do want to be there for a while, and I think that's where we're talking about the extension, that we put this capital expense into really updating the facilities, we'd like to make sure that we are guaranteed at least that first 10 years to make sure that we are getting our return on our investment. But also, we want to be good neighbors to the city of Lawrence. And I think as far as what we're in now that we're all in there, that's all the furniture and all the office stuff that we have in the cubicles. We got in there and everything's set. So now phase 2, we just started in July, which will also be like artwork. So we're doing an art railing system so that we don't have to put nails in the wall because those walls are concrete and we'll destroy them if we try to do that. But little things like that. But that's also the new security system. And then really updating the patio outside and the event center itself. And I'm going to let Adam kind of tell you about that and what we have kind of planned for the event center staying within our mission-driven events.
Yes, my name's Adam Howell, and one of the things when we went into the space we wanted to figure out is how we would best utilize the space before we went into phase 2 and determining what investments we wanted to make. And so we've been doing a number of different programmatic events, things like we did an event where we showed a film that was a magic theme, and we had a magic show, and had that room. We did a dinner there and brought in open to the public to come, and that was sold out. It was a huge event or a huge success. We also did an event. We turned both the lobby and the event center into a full-blown gallery. There's a documentary called Liminal. It's about the Indiana Anthropocene, and we had pictures of all of these different shots about Indiana nature and how humans had an impact both positively and negatively on Indiana's landscape. And that was hugely successful. We partnered with Arts for Lawrence on showing the film, and then huge reception in the art gallery. We had several hundred people over 2 weeks that came through the space to not only watch the film, experience the gallery. And so once we started seeing what worked, what was successful, we are now stepping into looking at permanent screen, permanent sound system, upgraded projector, and where the space can be easily flexible. And one thing that Michael and I are kind of trying to manage is now that we are opening the doors to the community, we are getting a massive amount of requests for people to use the space, which we're thrilled to be able to help facilitate that. And so some of these investments will make the use of it by external community partners a lot easier, as opposed to us having to set stuff up, tear it down. It's kind of a touch of a button opportunity to make things streamlined. So we're looking at some enhancements on that area so that both our programming we can do more, because we've now tested a number of things that we're going to blow up and do a lot more in 2024. That'll help us scale, but also to be more accessible and more easily accessible for the space to be used for the community at large outside of ours.
Real quick, and Heartland Films was named one of the 50 coolest.
So we
25,
we have 2 film festivals, and we have a shorts film festival in July and our main flagship festival in October, and both of them were named top 25 coolest film festivals in the world by a publication called Movie Maker Magazine. It's an industry trade. This is kind of like our big trade magazine that services our industry. And so not only did we get 1, but we got 2, and we're the only organization that had listed multiple festivals that made that list. So in addition to some other lists, top 20 shorts festival in the world, we did also get the coolest, which we thought we were pretty cool, and thought being here in Lawrence is pretty cool, but we're glad to get that honor. Yes.
And just to sell that, I got exposed to the Fall Festival when I was teaching IB at LN 10, 12 years ago. I'm showing my age. But that Fall Festival, the Lawrence is a collection of 10 or 15 LN teachers that make it a point to hit the different venues. And they'll split up in groups and go, instead of having book club meeting, they'll have a couple of film review where they get together and break down. Though it's international, it is very community-based, where you get folks turned on turned into the power of movies. I don't think people realize, I think that's a loss. There's the entertainment value, but the power of movies come out, and I think in these shorts and in these film festivals.
Yeah, and one thing, one program that I neglected to mention, we do one of these at each of our festivals, but we did a family fun day is what we called it, and we opened up the whole cultural campus. We had bounce houses, and of course the swings are like, the amount of people who are hitting the swings it's crazy. But we showed a collection of short films in the theater. We had 2 different screenings, and issued out the maximum amount of tickets for both of the screens because of, over 500 tickets were claimed by different community groups. Most of those tickets were given out free to the different community partners that we work with. And then we had a bunch of games in our space because we had the rain, so we had a bunch of camp and carnival themed games and activities. So just see kids coming and going. We did, Moo and Lou's little trailer was out front of our office. So it was a great day just to be able to see kids experiencing film, but also getting to just have fun on a great campus. And so that's something that we're going to continue and hopefully even be able to expand on that even more. But the campus and the space is just perfect for so many of the things that we're looking to do and build off of.
And bringing people to Lawrence is a huge
Was going to be
plus,
my,
I think, for people to see what's going on over here. We will be doing Merry Movie Nights in December, which we're working with the Fort Theater. We have a huge title sponsor for the first time that's coming in. They're bringing people in from all over the state of Indiana to this event, so they'll all be here. Note, we just had a business conference come in last Friday, and they had about 100 people here and did a whole business day of training. They did a luncheon. They had Fitzgerald's cater it for lunch. And then they were all gone by like 2 or 3 o'clock. But these are people that are not from here, and everybody was saying, this is such a great location. This is a beautiful park back here. These buildings are incredible. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of really cool things that Heartland's doing with that building and with we're doing with our festival and with other special events. And as far as the phase 2, I mean, we still have other things that we're working on that are pretty big, and some of them do have to do with the building, and I think we're working on some historical things with the windows
Right.
to get those in place. Just over the years, there's just been some, I don't want to say neglect,
No, it's
just
Like a money.
they're like me, they fall into disarray.
to be done.
Yeah.
And I think Eric's probably tired of us calling him saying, hey, there's birds in the fireplace.
I think we've got them all now.
We are going through those little, those, what do you call them, those things when you,
They're annoying. It's like if I just came up and just kept packing, you get off me. Yep.
they're little bitty things.
Yeah.
And Eric's been great working with us, so I apologize for all the phone calls, but I do appreciate all the attention because I think once we get pretty set in there, we're good to go. I mean, we're self-sustaining and we,
Well, the key thing as we moved, I know we got 2 moving parts here, the improvement to the HVAC, the new roofing, new guttering, but inside there where we've brought the infrastructure inside the building into the 21st century, and the new windows will improve the efficiency and the use of, the utilities. I hate to be something boring like this, but it does. It will help with the efficiency of how that building's used and the like.
All right.
So
Go over the 2 items
Yes.
in front of you.
let's do the lease agreement extension first there, Ms.
Okay.
Corey.
You will see in front of you a document titled Addendum Number 2 to Lease Agreement, and you will see the whereases on the top of that are all things that are from the lease itself that we currently have. And then you'll see now therefore in consideration. So what it is saying is that our lease was currently from October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2027. So the number 1 changes that section of the existing lease, and it says that it shall now commence on October 1st, 2022, as it did, and continue through September 30th, 2032. And so that's for a total of 10 years. This 10 years is consistent with what we do with the theater and with other pieces, so we feel that we're being very consistent in how we are looking at the buildings. We believe that Heartland has proven to be very good partners for us and good for our economics of the city with what they are bringing here, and so we would like to continue that. You will also see that in number 2 there, it says Section 4 is hereby deleted and replaced with. The only thing that changes is it had the total amount of $300,000, which reflected the amount when it was 5 years. We just took that out there and kept it as $5,000 a month during the agreement, because since we were 8 months into it, it would have been a weird number to be putting in there, do you know what I mean? And we didn't want it to be confusing, so we kept that as the 5,000. And then the other change that happens there is that in number 3, you will see that now that we extended the lease out, it took the amount, if they would like to renew the lease, up to $5,500. So it put a 10% increase on that lease amount. If, you know, at that time, after 10 years, a renewal is negotiated and they have the right to be able to renew that lease. And then the other stuff is just saying that everything else, because if you remember, we had a lease and then we had a slight addendum there. Everything else remains the same, is all that number 4 basically says. So any questions on addendum number 2 to the lease agreement? And Jeff, I turn that to you.
Okay, with that being said, I would entertain a motion in extension of the lease agreement between the City of Lawrence Parks Department and the Heartland Film Festival to commence through October 2032.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any more questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank
Aye.
you.
Don't leave, Michael. You'll have to sign something.
And the second thing that you have in front of here is Resolution Number 2, 2023. And again, it just speaks the beginning part through the lease. What I want to ask you to do is go to the last 3 pages of the stapled document that you have there, and you will see that there are some estimates. Eric did an estimate on the windows in the past, and this actually came through better, so Heartland was able to get some better deals here on getting the window repairs that need to happen. You'll see that $61.45. We also, at the back kitchen entry, if you went there right now, you would see that the wood on the door frame, because of the way the water was pouring over with some gutter issues, has totally rotted that wood.
Yeah.
And so they are going to be repairing that. And then above that, there's going to be doing some gutter repairs so that when this repair is done, we don't go back to having the same problem. So the total amount that is being done, you'll see, is on the 4th whereas down. It is $7,477.50. And so what we are asking to do is that instead of going back and forth, since they pay us rent, then we have to turn around and reimburse them for these repairs that they are getting done. And since the city, per our lease, is responsible for all exterior repairs, we are just asking that we reduce the rent in September to 0, and then have the rent be $2,522.52 in October of this year, because that then will, that $5,000 savings and the $2,477.50 will total that amount of repairs, and they will pay for those directly, so we're just not creating paperwork back and forth.
Question?
No problem with the bidding or anything. We don't have to bid on this.
No, not at these amounts for these type of repairs, it's too small, yep.
Yeah.
And
New windows, Corey, are these new windows or are these just?
They're the existing windows, so Eric might be able to talk about this.
Yeah.
they'll go in and reglaze them and reset the
Casing.
actual mantle, the casings and everything. Some of them that are rotted on the big, it's the end that we were in, on the west end,
Yeah.
the bottom's rotted out, and it's, the whole casing slid down, so they'll go in, fix that casing, lift everything back up,
And it does have to fall within the historical standards.
It'll remain in the standards because they're keeping the same
Right.
materials. And if we went out, and as Corey did say, I went out and got a bid, and the bid that I got was over $7,000 for the repairs.
And that didn't include the doors or
Yeah.
the guttering, so.
And if we went with their contractor, then we'd have to make them a vendor of the cities and just,
The hoop jumping is
so
mind-boggling.
this was less paperwork actually than filing for another vendor. And
Is the building, is it under some kind of historic standards?
Oh, yeah.
the exterior
Yeah,
is.
seriously.
So who controls that?
Yeah.
The
And-
historical,
And we got their, okay?
This, because it's not changing what it
it's
looks
not
like.
changing
Yeah.
anything, yes.
It's only when we're changing anything or when we were like, when they were tearing things out, like in the interior and that kind of stuff, they had to get involved to make sure that that was all within historical standards of what they were doing. If we do repairs to what is there and keep it the same, then it is fine.
When we redid the roof, I had to have them sign off on the asphalt shingles were allowed in lieu
How
of.
does DNR control that?
Well, they are the historical keeper of facilities and buildings for the state of Indiana.
Yeah, it's a historical preservation division.
There you go.
Indianapolis has their own historic preservation
I
outfit?
guess for city, I'm going down this road, for city property. But for any state-owned property, that still falls under the privy of DNR, or the state agency.
Or even privately owned.
Yeah.
It's on the historical registry.
Now, if it's even, then you take a step further, I think it's Department of the Interior, if you have something on the National Historical Register.
Right, and when we did the interior of the building, we did not change any walls, which if we would have, we would have had to come through the historical register to have that changed. Everything else that we are having done, even the, like Corey said, the wood around the outdoor, they came, the DNR contact that we had said that it had to still look like whatever that wood was. So they actually came and took a sample of wood. So if you go out there now, there's a 2x4
Yeah, no.
glazed.
That's what I was worried
We
about.
can create a new door frame that looks just like it, just much more hardier wood.
Yep. I've got a friend who was an attorney for the historic
Yep.
preservation or whatever they call Indianapolis's, and
Well, my other hat down at the other end of the hall with the reuse authority, same thing. The structures, we have the external windows of new buildings here, their casings are vinyl, but they have to look as close as the historical wood of the historic building. These people don't get out much. I'm just going to tell you, when you have to sit and deal with them.
I understand all
Don't add that to the record. With that being said, I would entertain a motion that the agreement between the Heartland Film Festival and the Board of Parks and Recreation for lease payment for the month of September and October 2023 in the amount specified in the agreement be altered.
so moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And everybody has to sign
Yep,
this.
these were signed. Oh, that one, everyone has, I had Michael sign these already.
Oh, okay. Good.
Oh.
See, I believe in karma. That's why I always hold up the sign.
Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you all for your support.
And I know Michael and the staff over there, if you're having a shitty day, it's a positive, upbeat environment. Come in, pick up the phone or walk in and say, I'm with Parks Board, and I know somebody will give you a dime tour without hesitation. If you're proud of it, I'm proud, and you have every right to be proud. It is a fun place to go into.
They've given many of private tours, so stop in. Your hours there are till 4:30?
Yeah. 3 to 4:30. And I would
time?
say for staff is very proud of this building
Oh.
and what we put into it too.
Our normal office hours are 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, great group.
Great.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, sirs.
so much.
Thank you.
No.
All right.
What a fun day.
Next up is a discussion which,
Let's do the
Oh, you want to do K&K fencing?
Yeah,
Okay.
Get that out of the way.
All right, next up on the agenda, give me something to read, is some fencing, acceptance of a quote from K&K Fencing, changing eyes here, in the amount of how much, Eric?
$59,880.
Go.
Compared to, I could only obtain 2 quotes, K&K Fence and Capital City Fence. Capital City Fence came to $64,500. This is for fencing for Play Park. We're using it's 395 feet of 4-inch, 3-rail ornamental aluminum fencing, and 391 feet of 6 feet along the properties to the east and south of this. So it's similar to what is down here at the water tower on 59th Street, that ornate. It's aluminum, and we're going with the industrial grade, which is thicker wall and larger posts, and so it should stand up better. And for that price, it should. So we've got some money in our general account. We'll probably take the balance out of the non-reverting. We have $25,000 in our general account earmarked for, and we'll probably take the balance out of the non-reverting account.
And this for out at Oakland and Play Park. As you know, that fence there, is
It's been there since
that original?
1990.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So we thought we'd try to drag it in to the 21st century. So with that being said, I'd entertain a motion accepting the quote from K&K Fence in the amount that Eric mentioned for fencing work at Oakland and Play Park.
$59,880.
What he said.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And when could work commence on this, Eric?
8 to 10 weeks.
8 to 10 weeks. All right. Thank you. And we're doing it?
Actually, that includes the removal, that they will do the removal, so we'll just have to take out temporary fence along the railroad tracks when
Okay.
they tear the other out.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. All right. We ready for Dora? Dora?
We are ready for Dora.
Okay, this is an exciting opportunity that the state is giving us, giving communities a
Eric,
chance
hit share.
to grow and enhance
Left of the red, hit share, sorry.
entertainment venues. Go.
I'm not sure where yours, oh, maybe because you don't have your camera on? Well, everyone has a copy, so I think. we
Yeah,
can do
let's go
that.
that round.
That's quite all right. So everyone has a copy, so if you pull out this that says Dora. Dora stands for Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area. And so what is it? It is some new legislation. I have
Holy hell.
containers, and so I have a little, every once in a while I get tongue-tied, I'm getting used to them. Allows a city or town to have an outdoor location where they, that gets approved by the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission as an ongoing basis. So it basically provides this refreshment area so that for festivals, that kind of thing outside, you don't have to keep going back to ATC, you can do some things. So think Winterfest and how neat this will be to have that opportunity to have basically a vendor where someone can go warm, but also they don't have to worry, they can come back out and enjoy the festivities. So the legislation was effective July 1st, and the bill that was passed allows us as each municipality to pick up to 7 refreshment areas. Each has to have one designated permittee, so an existing place that can sell alcohol. It removes that requirement that restaurants have to have a service window. So in the past, if they were doing that and they were approved to sell into an outdoor space, you had to have a window. It removes that piece. It does limit, though, the amount of alcoholic beverages that can be purchased by an individual at one time. What is needed? Municipalities need to have a detailed map of what their refreshment areas are with boundaries, And they can, everything down to the dates, hours of operation for that refreshment area. You'll see that they cannot violate Indiana Code 7.1-3-1-14, which has those hours of, it's like Monday through Saturday, 7 to like 3 a.m., and then something
Still
like
blows my
that.
mind.
And then the 12 to, I think, 8 on Sundays.
Yep.
So it goes along with those same guidelines. What you'll see is that we are proposing 2 currently, DORAs. One is Civic Plaza, and as we look at that, it takes Civic Plaza into that area, and then we'll take it down to Triton. So Civic Plaza is the red star on that first map, and Triton is the gold star there. We still have to talk, but before we started to engage with businesses about possibly being part of these designated outdoor refreshment areas, we wanted to talk to you as a Parks Board and update you on this new legislation and also get your input on what we are looking to do. The second one that we are looking at is with the Fort Bend Cultural Campus. You will see that it has, you'll see the campus in the middle labeled there, and then right now it has Porter's, the Fort Bend Pub, and Phi Thai. You will say, why don't you have the Starrett Center in Heartland on there? We're not exactly sure because of not having a full menu with food besides snacks. If those could be allowed to be able to be part of that, we believe they can, but we were just getting some additional information before, so we didn't put any of our partners who do so much for the city at jeopardy. So we wanted to get that clarification before adding them to the map. You'll see that that one is a little bit bigger as we look at it, but we wanted to give some options to what we can do here and kind of see how it works. You might look and say, why don't you include Giacomo's? Why don't you include, we don't know what's going to be happening at Keystone Group. And so we also are looking at some of those additions possibly in extending the Civic Plaza one. But we just kind of wanted to show you on these 2 examples how tight they could be with one person or how, or do we want to make them bigger? So these are all works in progress. This is nothing set. We haven't done anything. This is truly for discussion tonight, for you to ask questions and for you to, give your input on what you think of these moving forward. We'd love eventually to see Lee Road Park, as we build that out, to have its own DORA, but until we have somebody in there permanently on a regular basis running that concession stand that is licensed, we can't create that DORA because you can't just have people come and go that are temporary. It's meant to be for people who are already permitted to be able to do, to be able to be part of these DORAs.
I got not concerns. Have we, the cultural campus DORA area, will we need to engage the neighbors in this because of the range? I guess the second one is we'll have to address concerns, or I don't know if we've reached out to law enforcement yet.
Once we have them set, we will involve law enforcement, so what they need. Also, you'll see that there are requirements on the signage that it needs to happen, and it actually is that you put your map even on there, so it's very clear on what it is. When we apply, you'll see that we need to include our streets and addresses and those kinds of things. So it's pretty specific. And so in addition to ATC happening, it will actually become a local ordinance that is enforceable so that if people go outside of that area. You will see that we did not on the cultural campus include that parking lot in the center because that is a private parking lot. We tried to keep some of those, you have to walk down the streets and we have that, but we didn't want people thinking that they could walk through. We'll have signs up there that say, no drinks beyond these points, so that they're not cutting through the parking lot and deciding that it's a great place to tailgate, because we don't want to create those kinds of environments.
Makes sense.
Questions?
I have a clarifying question. So the Starrett Center is a possible site for the 6th Dora?
Now, the Starrett Center would be, Adora is this whole pink area. So right now, we only have 2 here.
Okay.
So we have the opportunity that we could
Okay.
add
Within the
5
existing?
more.
Okay.
So you can have multiple locations. I believe Shelbyville and the one had like 6 or 7 restaurants in their one Dora. And so you can have multiple locations. The reason why we're not sure, because Heartland on a regular basis, and also Arts for Lawrence, they are event specific. They're not open all the time to public.
Right.
And so we're not sure how that impacts their ability to be part of this DORA. And since they're permitted and when they have events, hopefully, yes, they can, because how great if, one of the organizations is using that campus inside and out and can, have that flow happening. However, because they're more event-centered and not open for normal hours of business 6 days a week or 7 days a week, we're not sure, and so we need to get some clarification there.
Think about it this way. I know Speedway, for obvious reason, was a big push of Dora, but IMS, I live out there 4 or 5 weeks of the year. It's the largest Dora, non-Dora on the planet right now. It has been since 1911. And they were a big pusher behind us as they've redeveloped their main street, which is spectacular. And the police out there, people would leave the restaurants with a beverage. They're not supposed to. And Speedway police, I guess, if you were an a-hole, they would enforce it, but technically they could. And so they were giant pushers
I just
behind
think
that.
that'd be Speedway though.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I really think that for Winterfest, it's going to be great for us to be able to have a place like that, place where people can. I think if you look at some of the winter markets that have been very successful, or winter events like that, they do offer adult beverages as well as having, the non-alcoholic beverages, those kinds of things happening. And so I think it's really going to help us be able to do that. So we definitely want to move forward, and we'd like to get especially that Civic Plaza one in place before Winterfest, and to gain those partners and keep going. But we're pretty excited about this because I think it's good opportunity for us. We look and say on July 4th, what do we have? We're like, nope, you know what? There's not a restaurant right in there in community parks. So that's not an opportunity for us because there's not a permittee that would be accessible in doing that kind of stuff. So we're really being very strategic and looking at how we are utilizing these to where we have some of those event-driven pieces that can help us grow our events and appeal to more people, but yet be responsible. And I think the limits of the 2 drinks at a time, those kinds of things, you have to, IDs, they have to be banded walking around so that you can see that their ID was checked and, who has those beverages, that kind of stuff. So we would need to pass an ordinance, and we also have to submit our plans to ATC for approval before we could actually move forward with this as well.
All right. Any other questions?
And these 2 areas seem to be pretty easy to approve. Parks might be a different story.
Yeah, and we don't really have that ability right now. The only place that might potentially is as we grow our adult sports out there. Eric has gotten pricing, and we're looking at what we will do with adding bocce ball and cornhole over at Lee Road Park. And as we get more things happening, softball is going to continue for fall, in addition to the pickleball at Lee Road. And so as we look at those events growing and being a place where people may then stop and socialize after, or I know my son, like I said, with CCA, used to play softball at Broad Ripple Park before we were here in Lawrence, and then they would come right over to the Blind Owl, and we would do, as a family, we were on the bocce ball league. So it was nice to, with he and his wife, so it was really nice. So we'd have dinner then together and stuff. So as we create a gathering and we may get someone operating out of the concession stand there, at that point, we would look at it being a Dora.
It would be like for a tournament or special event of some kind, it wouldn't be on an ongoing basis like they do every Tuesday night or whatever.
I thought that too. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm saying I don't know. I said,
As
is
it
a
builds
door an
out, it-
ongoing thing, or is it, can you make it, like Tom said, sporadically?
No, it would be ongoing, and so that's why they have to be a business establisher as a permittee going all the time.
So there would be a bit, I know you can't answer this 100%, but there would be a business.
We
running the
would
concession
get someone who would operate that and give us a percentage of their sales, so it would be another revenue stream for us if they were operating out of our facility there.
Other cities have parks like,
Yes, they do, and they're very common, actually, with kind of picnic areas. It's a limited menu, but it's very popular. I know when I lived in Minnesota, the park I went to.
Let's go
we would go to
Wisconsin.
all the
Indiana's
time.
slow to accept this sort of thing, but most.
Wisconsin has,
20th century
Yeah.
these days.
Wisconsin
Need a
has
gun
beer
anytime.
gardens
Well,
all over the
It's a whole different story.
That's where I am from, and when I visit my mom, I'm like, Mom, you got beer gardens everywhere in your parks.
Yeah.
And Germans.
Okay,
Yes.
thinking about it.
And obviously, if we would do anything at Lee Road Park, because of the adjacency to the east side of Lee Road Park, butting up to the schools, we would have to look at that space where we are, and we actually exceed the distance to the building that's required, but out of respect to the MSD of Lawrence Township, we would definitely make sure that we partnered with the school district before we would do anything.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you much.
All right.
Last thing, a week from Saturday, don't forget, is the opening of the latest Marion County Public Library
Oh, yeah.
at 10 o'clock in the morning. So everybody's welcome to come out and take a gander at it. Anything else good of the cause? Anything? Once, twice? It's wet outside. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
What are they doing at Fall Creek